wouldn't.
Yes, you would, you lying bitch. I'd fuck me, but then I'd leave me because I'm kind of a pain in the ass for long-term relationships. You know what I mean?
The hard part about it is you can't leave yourself. So
that's what drugs and alcohol are for, young man.
yes.
Let's see. It is Friday, November 20th. I don't think we've ever done that before. I don't think we've ever.
Colorado's getting an In-N-Out. Actually, it just opened today.
2 of them, didn't it?
Yeah, in Aurora. Let's go.
They had people that were camping outside of it like they were, selling PlayStation 5s or something.
That's what I said. Fuck you.
Let's go, dude. I'm not. You guys are scared, but I'm not fucking scared.
You go right ahead, brother. If you want to go down there and sit for a fucking cheeseburger that tastes like every other fucking fast food cheeseburger.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't taste like every other fast food cheeseburger, dude.
It does. Yes.
Now, if they opened up a fucking Crystal's, I would be.
Oh my God, Crystal. Fuck you, Dan. Fuck you, Dan.
Fuck Crystal. White Castle. White Castle.
Well, the admin of the podcast, I can mute you.
An overdub. I love Crystal. I never cared for Crystal, and everybody says, "Oh, White Castle and Crystal are the same," and they really aren't.
Yeah, they are.
All the
similar.
All the fast food places do taste a little bit different. If they didn't, then we wouldn't have the multitude that we've got. So I was bummed out yesterday. I hit you guys up because they closed the Five Guys over here by me. Fortunately, literally 1/2 mile away.
When you said it, the fucking Five Guys was closed, I was like, no. And then I was like, no way, there's another one right like across the street.
Yep. Right up there on the corner. So I fucking came down, got Five Guys. I regretted it later, but it tasted good. I know a lot of people fucking hate Five Guys. I like them once in a while. I don't think I can make a steady diet of it.
Five Guys is good, dude.
It's pretty good, but it's not the second coming of Jesus Christ.
No. But dude, I don't know that I've ever had a cheeseburger that, was sprinkled with angel titty. I mean,
that'd be pretty good though.
Right?
Yeah.
I've had some good cheeseburgers, but
well, I will tell you one thing. When we were still living in North Carolina and there weren't any Crystals anywhere in North Carolina that I could find.
You had to go to Gaffney, South Carolina. That's the closest one.
Yep. So
off the highway?
Yeah.
I did go down there a couple of times. Yeah.
So I would make the 50-mile one-way trip, and I would only do it somewhere around once every 2 weeks or once a month. But when you've been craving something for a month and you finally get it, I assure you, there is angel titty in it.
That's how Doug feels about my cock too, for the record.
I went in there once, it was a pretty long trek. Me and my buddy drove down there and they were like about to close and we're like, no.
Please no.
And we're like, can we get like the sack of fucking burger? Because like we didn't just want to go down there and get like 3. We're like, we want the 24 fucking sack of sandwiches. And she was like, we have a 12-pack. And I was like, yeah, we'll do 2 of those. And she was so fucking mad.
The fact that you had to do the math for them. I'd like 24 burgers.
She was saying like, we're about to close, but like we have a 12-pack ready, like under the warmer. And I was like, cool, we'll do 2 of those.
Yeah, I worked in food service, fast food, etc. And you did, like I worked for Red Lobster, and I'm not going to lie, if somebody came in within an hour of when we closed, like if we closed at 10 p.m. and someone came in at 9:15, that made me mad because I get it. We're open till 10, but the fucking place is empty and you're going to come in with a 6 top and, 2 adults, 4 kids, and you're going to be there until well past when we close. Right.
Yeah. Because they're going to want appetizers, main course, and dessert.
Right. My ex-wife knew that I had a rule that I would not go to a restaurant 1 hour before they close, unless it was just carry out or something. Now, you should keep your grill on. You should keep your stuff up until about a quarter till or such, because I get it. You want to go home. But like a White Castles or fucking Crystals or something like that, nah, fuck that. If I'm going to come in and get some burgers, dude, you can keep your shit open until whatever time it is. What is it, Adam? You're dying. What did I say?
Did you say Whitey's?
Whitey's, yeah. White Castles, Whitey's. I knew that's what you were keying on. I knew it. Yeah,
nobody says that. That's not a thing.
It is a thing. Yeah, Whitey's. Go down to Whitey's and get some fucking sliders. Fuck yeah, dude. Actually, I don't think we ever called them sliders. I mean, I know that's what they're called, but I don't think
I've never lived near a White Castle, so I don't know. The nearest one to North Carolina is like fucking Tennessee, like before you get into Nashville. That's the closest fucking White Castle.
So their corporate headquarters, if I remember correctly, is still in Columbus, Ohio. I used to drive by it going to work.
Yeah.
We had them in Cincinnati. I grew up in Cincinnati, and they were everywhere down there. I will tell you that walking into a White Castle's at 2 a.m, drunk and stoned off your fucking ass, is a somewhat religious experience, because they use like that old 50s white tile everywhere. Yeah. And it's, they're very clean, and of course smell fantastic at 2 a.m. when you're fucked up. And you'd walk in and it's like, fucking bright and stupid. And walk in, like Doug said, I remember hearing somebody told me one time, they said hunger is the best seasoning.
Oh, and
yeah. It makes everything taste better.
No arguments here.
When you've been drinking fucking Canadian Mist all night and your blood sugar's not sure what it's doing, walk in there and be like, I want 20 White Castles. And you ate all of them.
Well, I mean, it's like anybody that was raised up in that region, generally loves White Castles and bags on Crystals. But the reason why Crystals exists is because, White Castle wanted to keep everything in-house.
Mm-hmm.
So they have ultimate control over all their stuff, and they've got their little footprint that they've got in the United States, and they've got one location in Las Vegas. That's the only,
which makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Surprised they never put one in Denver. I feel like that would be worth the DC and everything else.
They had thought about it for a while, but they just never went through with it. And up until, the current situation that we're in, I have considered, just because it's not the easiest thing in the world to get Crystals unless I flew to a city that has Crystals. So I was thinking, hey, White Castle never really had it before. I would literally take a few-day trip to Vegas to go hit that White Castle down there, because I've never been to Vegas before anyway, so it was 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah.
And then when I started really looking into it, because, my crystal craving meter is, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 19.5 right now. I thought about going down there, seeing the sights, going to the Bellagio and all that stuff, and literally eat White Castles every fucking meal while I was there.
I might be down with this, dude. Fuck Harold and Kumar. Doug and Dan go to fucking White Castle.
I'm down with this plan. Once all of this bullshit is settled, I'm going. There's no debating it.
I've never had really any urge.
You
to
hitting
go
the
to
slots? You hitting the slots this weekend, Doug? No. No, I'm just gonna hit White Castle.
Over and over and over again.
No gambling. No. I'm gonna basically just camp out like behind the White Castle.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I will choose which hotel I stay in based on its relationship to the White Castle.
We need sponsored by White Castle or Crystal now. God damn it. I'm going to tweet this out and tag them.
This podcast brought to you by White Castle. Go on their website and use the code Bullshirt Podcast and get 10% off on your next online order.
And get 0% off your next online order.
Yeah,
probably an error message. Get a free error message with with every submission. I've never had any urge to go to Vegas. I know several people that have gone recently, actually, for different reasons, and just claiming that there's not a lot of people down there right now, etc.
I just want to get a hooker, dude.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Sex work to me is absolutely legitimate fucking work.
You go get a
they're doing it based on the low demand, so they get a better price.
Well, you go get a blow job. I'm going to go get some White Castles, and we'll both fucking be happy.
Hell yeah.
We both want some cheap thrills that we're going to regret later, huh?
Yeah. All I got to say is, I'm just not going to eat any fiber-based cereals in the morning.
I don't recommend eating too much of either one of those things, cheap hookers or White Castles. Not at our age. Can't handle it like we used to. I'm not a huge...
You could.
Dude, you're good. You're fine. I don't like big crowds. I'm not a gambler. The only reason I've ever wanted to go to Vegas is to see it. To experience it, I guess, really would be a better term. And being that we're as close as we are now, probably wouldn't be a bad idea one summer to drive down there.
Drive down there my ass. It would be an $80 plane flight.
Drive down Doug's
that would
ass.
fucking be a round trip. Would be $80 because a lot of that stuff going to Vegas is subsidized.
Yeah.
So I would get the plane ticket, and when I want to go there, I don't want to go there on the weekend when a bunch of people are there.
Yeah.
I'm literally talking about taking off and going on like a Tuesday.
Yeah, I do a Tuesday, Wednesday type thing.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
I like road trips though. I do. I enjoy road trips.
I like driving.
I do too. I want to go down to Moab. I've still got my eyes on a Jeep sometime, maybe around March or so. I want to start shopping for real. And I'd like to do some camping and stuff like that. But I've heard good things about Moab. So I'd like to take like a week or two off and do a big road trip. But I don't know. A lot goes into that. So.
Well, after I've been driving for more than 8 hours, I get very face shooty. That's kind of my thing. It's like I can do it, but like if you're taking a road trip with people, because out to about 6 to 8 hours, you can engage in semi-meaningful conversation. But after you pass 8 hours,
it's like, shut up, Doug.
You're talking. You start talking about stuff like Wookiees and what sound they makes, and that's the point where the person that you're with like looks at you and like, I want to fucking shoot you in the face right now. So anything past 8 hours, I'm like, I'm not all about that road trip.
So what you're saying is we could do it, just make sure none of us have a gun.
Or we only drive like 6 hours. A little alarm, it goes off. Be like, all right, well, we have reached face shooty 30. It's time to pull over. I think it depends with me, right? If I've got the time and it's leisurely and I'm just sort of fucking off, I don't have much of a timer. I mean, of course, I'm basing a lot of that off being out on the bike too. I've done 8-10 hours on the bike, but I'm also by myself, music in my ears, fuck the world, right? And that is a little different than having people in your vehicle. Now, if I have somewhere to be, like if I've got to drive to be somewhere and it's a 4 or 6 hour drive, I'm pretty much fucking face shooty the entire time. The anxiety of knowing I need to be somewhere at a certain time just automatically puts me in face shooty mode. And it's been a long time since I've had a leisurely road trip too. So a long fucking while. Being an adult sucks. Having responsibilities sucks.
Sucks to be you, dude.
Okay.
It does. Yeah. It does
From
most days.
Centennial, Colorado to the Vegas Strip is 10 hours, 57 minutes. That's if you had a nuclear powered car and never stopped.
Fuck yeah. Well, there's no reason to stop except for gas. So you can pee in a bottle. I'm just saying.
So
I can't.
you'd be looking at roughly
I don't have the length for that.
12 and a half, 13 hours of road time. Or like flights right now are $35. But even when it's popular, you know,
nah, man, it's
that would
cheaper to
still
drive.
be $80.
Right.
So
I
it's
just
like
fuck. I hate airports, and I hate people, and I hate being on planes with people.
But it's $35, so no one will be on the plane.
Yeah. Prices like that, I'll drive down demand, my friend. I don't mind. I'm claustrophobic as fuck. I mean, I don't even like tight clothes; they bother me. But planes, people think I'm afraid to fly, and I'm not afraid of flying. I actually enjoy flying. I'm sort of a speed nut. I like to go fast. And when they throttle those fucking 747s up and you're pinned into the fucking back seat, it's like, oh, that's cool. It's the people on the fucking plane. It's the mouth breathing, fucking gross, disgusting bags of fucking meat that are people. Biggest pet peeve in the world. Fucking plane hits the ground. All the tires hit the ground.
Everyone stands up immediately.
Everybody stands up and starts heading for the fucking aisle. Do you people not know what congestion is? Contention. Fucking, it's an aisle, 3 feet wide? You're not all going to be able to fucking fit. Just wait. And then when the doors open, the people in the front can leave first. And quite frankly, if you're not first, you're last. There we go, Doug. It's for you, buddy.
Bringing that full circle.
Talladega Nights, babe. I'm going fast, Mama. I'm going fast,
Mama. Yeah, I just that's what bugs me. Doug and I, for work years ago, had to go from Charlotte to Syracuse, and we had to do some stuff up there. And I think we stayed the night and then came back the next day after meetings and stuff. And we did this red eye. I think it was a 737. It wasn't quite a jumbo, but it was a sizable plane. And we get on, and there's four of us for work, and then literally like 3 other people on this entire plane. And we get to talking, and the stewardess recognized. She's like, "Do you guys know each other?" "Oh yeah, She's like, "Yeah, you can fucking sit anywhere you want." And we were like, "Cool."
Yeah, so we all got back.
Yeah, I was gonna say we all went into the back. I went to the very back and laid down, fucking took a nap. And that trip didn't bother me at all. Like being on the plane, none of it bothered me. And that's when I realized that it has nothing to do with flying. It's all the fucking people on the plane drive me just batty, and being trapped with them. My ex traveled a lot for work. She's been to Ireland and fucking London and all these places, and South Africa. And she always tried to get me to go. It was actually one of the issues that we had, is she wanted me to travel, and I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. The idea of being on a fucking plane for like 20 hours with a bunch of people, nah.
It's awesome. Awesome,
that.
Dude.
Fuck that. That's the epitome of fuck that for me. The epitome.
Oh, I understand. That's why it's like, if we go to Vegas, you go to the doctor, I'll buy your fucking Xanax prescription.
I'd say every time. Yeah, every time I've been on a plane, I've been on Xanax or Ativan. Ativan didn't work as well. Man, I pop a couple of Xannies, and you just pour me into the seat and let me go. The first time I was on a plane, I remember there was just 2 women behind me, and the one of them's just freaking the fuck out. She obviously doesn't like planes. And I'm sitting right at the wing, and we're up on we get up in the air, and I'm relatively high as fuck at this point. And I look out, and the wing's bouncing, right? They bounce, they flex. And I'm like, look at the way that wing is bouncing. And I hear the woman behind me go, oh, and she like buries her face in her friend's fucking chest and just like was sobbing. And I thought to myself, if I had more Xanax, I'd give her one, but I ain't coming off these bitches.
They're all in my stomach.
Yeah, exactly. I had a bottle of them. So, but yeah, I just don't do well. I don't think I could get on a bus though, to be honest with you, and do a long trip. Just anything where I'm not in control.
Oh, I've been on a bus doing a long trip. It sucks. And it's not just because like it gives me anxiety, it's because people are just annoying.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, hey, let's talk. And I'm like, we're not friends. And they're like, let's talk anyway. And I'm like, no, I don't want to make a new friend today. And they're like, and then they just like fucking act like they're mad. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to music now and not listen to you. Awesome.
That is, I guess, one of the differences now is that with phones and iPads and things like that, you can distract yourself or you can just stay the fuck away from people. I mean, I don't mind a little casual conversation or a little polite conversation, but inevitably I'm going to sit next to that dude that just wants to talk about weird shit and just go on and on and on. And you know what I mean, man? You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? I fucking hate that when that happens. Don't you? Don't you hate the same things I hate?
Like, yeah, you know what else I hate? You.
You.
Your conversation. This entire fucking trip.
You know, as someone who, when I was younger, I worked for a car rental company, and they would always do shit like, oh, yeah, just get it up there, and then I think we're going to be able to fly you back this time. You're like, yeah, that's great, because you'd have a car breakdown, you would take them another car. And then when I got there, invariably, they always told me, nope, you're going to have to take the fucking bus. So... yeah. So I rode the bus about 4 different times, and I think the closest I ever was probably, God, 400 miles away.
Fuck.
So you know, past that, and what happens is, for those of you who have not had the joyful experience that is Greyhound, here's what happens. You get on the bus, and it is an interesting collection of humanity. That's the nicest way that I can put it. And they are going to stop in every fucking podunk town between the place that you started and the place that you're getting to. It would almost be faster if it were legal for you to get on a go-kart and start driving it, because you know, every time they're making one of these stops, it's usually not a 2-minute stop. Most of the time it's anywhere between 10 to 30 minutes. So you know, it's not a great form of transportation. And when you get to one of their hubs like Atlanta or something else like that, you can count on, in the lobby where you're at, if there's 100 people in there, at least 8 of them have a really solid mental illness.
Yeah.
About 8%, huh?
Yeah. Real solid mental illness.
And I'm not laughing at mental illness. I struggle with my own, but I just find that funny because those are the people I was talking about that I wind up sitting next to. And it reminds me that my struggles with mental illness it's all relative, right? I mean,
yeah, but you know, when I say, you know, mental, right, I'm talking serious schizophrenic. Right. I'm not on my medication. Right.
And that's what I mean. And those types of people they make me realize that I'm doing pretty fucking decent in the grand scheme of things. And when I get next to people like that, I'm like, oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. I never dealt with that very well, like nursing homes and stuff. I was reminded my ex-wife's mom died last Friday due to complications from COVID. And she was in a nursing home. She had strokes and aneurysms, and honestly, Alzheimer's and dementia run on my ex-wife's matriarchal side, the female side, matriarchal. I don't know. I'll look that up.
Doesn't sound right, but
no,
I think
it's not right.
Maternal,
but you know where I'm going with it.
Side.
Female lineage. So she had been in a nursing home for a while, right? And she passed, and that created kind of a dialogue between me and my ex-wife, because I've known her family and her mom for 15 years. Right, I was definitely a part of the family, and they reached out to me to let me know, which was very classy. I really appreciated that. And they started because of COVID, they couldn't do a funeral or anything or a service, so they wound up excuse me, they wound up just burying her, and then they created some memorial pages, of course, Facebook, right? And they invited me, and we were sharing pictures back and forth. And my ex had sent me this picture, and I really liked it. We had gone down there. We were moving, I think, from Charlotte maybe out to here, and we were getting rid of some family heirlooms of hers, putting them back into the family, basically. And we had this picture of us. It was the three of us, me and my ex and her mom. And it was a really good picture, and I've always liked the picture. But there was this woman there, and this woman was following me around. She just honed in on me and just spoke the most incredible gibberish and grunted and made noises. And it was, quite frankly, the most uncomfortable thing I have ever experienced in my life. Because I learned that I don't deal well with people that don't have their mental capacities anymore, like that aren't with us anymore, like physically are. Nursing homes being one of the, between delivering pizzas, going into people's homes when I was a telecom tech, etc. I've had a lot of exposure to it, and I just don't deal well with it. And people who do that for a living, or they deal with mentally handicapped kids and things like that, I have the absolute utmost respect for those people, because I can't do it. I simply cannot do it. And one of the reasons I never had children was the fear that I would wind up with a child that was mentally handicapped, knowing damn good and well that I was not strong enough to deal with that. Right. I don't have any, I don't have any ill feelings towards those kinds of people or children or whatever. It's not like that. It's my own weaknesses, my own inability to deal with that. But that memory popped up in my head, and I was kind of chuckling about it, because I don't know where her head was. And she would just look me in the eyes and say the most fucked up stuff, and then grunt and make weird noises. And my ex's mom, who oddly enough worked in that nursing home for like 15 years or something. She was a CCNA, I think it is. CCNA? CNA.
CNA. Trying to fucking Cisco's
she was on routing.
Yeah,
she was routing the patients, She was a CNA for many, many years in that nursing home. And the grace and the just calm demeanor that she had with this woman was incredible. Even with my mother-in-law's, her own struggles, as far as, like I said, with dementia and whatnot, she's like, yep, well, yes, ma'am. And she's just like going on, and I'm like, help me. It was wild, man. There's something wrong with you, Adam, just for the record.
There's quite a few things wrong with me. So.
Well, people, that you were talking about earlier, people that are mentally handicapped, I guess we could say, from birth, most commonly Down syndrome. It's, I kind of envy those people, strictly because of one reason. It's like when you're a kid, everything is either the greatest thing in the world or it's the end of all life as you know it.
Right.
And there's no in between to those two scenarios. And it's hard, it's like as you get later on in life, I'm in my 40s now, I don't get terribly excited about a lot of things except food, because I'm a fat ass. And there was one day where I was at a Jack's. It's just a little hamburger and chicken restaurant that's fast food in Alabama. It's one of those goofy little things where every podunk town has a Jack's. Well, we were in there, and this guy came in. He appeared to be in his 20s, and he very obviously had Down syndrome. You could see it in his face. He was kind of loud, and they told him if he was really good, they would get him chocolate milk. And that dude was so happy that he was going to get chocolate milk.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I've had orgasms that I wasn't that excited
about. But
was he that excited, or have you just had really
lame orgasms? Right? Yeah. He was like, yeah, chocolate milk, that's fine. Doug's like, God damn, that's better than my last orgasm.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude was all like, just, oh my God, chocolate milk.
Well, because they don't get wrapped up, I don't think, in the same bullshit that we do, right? There's a simplicity to it, I think. And by no means is that to trivialize or make fun of or anything like that. I don't want anybody to think that's what we're doing, because it's not. It's just kind of brass tacks, right? There is a certain
I'm envious.
No, I get it, right? There is a certain simplicity to certain mental disabilities, I think, because they simply don't get wrapped up in the same bullshit that we do. They just don't. And like you said, small things, they still find excitement and joy, I think is the word, joy, in small, stupid things that we take for granted,
I totally agree. They never lose that childlike quality. And it's, there's a lot of things with Down syndrome where there are pretty extreme challenges. And, I hate to say it, I wouldn't want to deal with that as a parent myself.
No, I can't imagine. I've got a woman that I used to work with. I consider her and her husband friends. They had twins, and one of them has Down syndrome. And I could not imagine being first-time parents, twins, one of them special needs. I'm like, holy shit. Like, that's, you are being tested right there, buddy.
3 strikes all in one.
I mean, just insane. Insane.
I wouldn't necessarily call it strikes, but it's definitely fucking challenging.
Depends on if you don't want kids like me.
Yeah.
Biggest strike is just having children.
Because, I've known several people, or it's not exactly like a gaggle, but I've known people who they had a child with Down syndrome, and they were extremely grateful to have them. But at the same time, it does present challenges, because everyone that I knew of that had a child that was that way, sort of their biggest concern was, them having to worry about what was going to happen to their children as they die, as they get older, because, it's not terribly uncommon for someone who has a child that's got Down syndrome. They'll be 30, 35 and living with their parents because of their situation.
Right.
And as they start to get older, they're worried that they're going to die before their child does, and someone's going to have to take care of them. Now, one thing about Down syndrome in particular, they actually, although they're not exactly dissecting these people on the table, one of the strange things about Down syndrome is most of the time, if anybody has it, it's their rate of getting Alzheimer's is practically 100% by age 40.
Oh, I did not know that.
No, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Is it the same? Like brain plaque based Alzheimer's? Or?
I believe so. I've read it in a few places, but obviously it's not something I study every day. So, there may have been, because when I was reading that shit, it was probably 12, 13 years ago. So I imagine there's been lots of updates since then. But at that time, it was reported that almost 100% dementia by age 40.
Wow, I didn't know that. I knew that most folks with Downs had, limited lifespans, typically 30s. But I didn't know that. And funny story, actually, they, for a long time, and I don't know if this is still a pervasive theory or not, but they thought that women who had children later in life had a higher risk of Down syndrome. And my mom was, I think, 36 when she had me, which was considered to be kind of older at the time, 1975. And they had recommended that she abort me because they were fairly well convinced that I was going to come out with Down syndrome. I've definitely got my challenges, but I don't feel like Down syndrome is one of them.
Yeah,
You know,
I
it was
don't.
just 36. Like nowadays, that doesn't seem that old. I mean, it's older in the scheme of having children, right? I couldn't imagine having a kid at like 36 or 40, but to say, oh well, if you have a kid past fucking 30, you're old and they're gonna have Down syndrome. Just doctors, man.
Your eggs are bad because you're fucking. Why? Why are they bad? Because they're bad. Because you're fucking old.
Women ain't allowed to get old. Women get old, shit just goes to hell, man. Yeah, not a male dominated fucking way of thinking at all, is it?
No.
Men just get better and women get fucking older, I guess.
Well, the theory, and I don't know how much it's either been proven or disproven. When you're making, when your body's producing sex cells, as far as making
Sex
sperm, what happened? I think it's meiosis or something like that. It's not mitosis, but it's like meiosis. But anyway, the theory was basically when you were producing these sex cells, it was basically dividing all your genes in half and then passing it along. So what the theory was at the time was there's this thing called non-disjunction, to where, as opposed to the cells splitting or the genes splitting cleanly in half like they were supposed to, that there would be some that would hang on, and that prevalence was greater later in life.
I don't know why that reminded me. We were talking about that and age related. So Adam and I were hanging out yesterday. We took my dog to the dog park, and we both were discussing that we needed to go grocery shopping. So we're like, well, fuck it, man. Let's just like run to Sam's and go grocery shopping. So we'll drop the dog off at the apartment, get him some water and stuff, and we'll go. So to make it easy, I pulled into the parking lot instead of my garage, and we dropped the dog off, grabbed a couple things. We're heading back out, and we run by this couple, I guess is the best word.
Was a couple of people.
It was a couple of people, right? Dude was late 50s, early 60s, maybe.
Yeah, like Dan's age.
I hate you. Well, very well dressed, well groomed, put together, and he's with a woman. I assume she was at least 18, and she was also very well put together, both anatomically and aesthetically. And we were talking, and I'm like, we just started laughing because it was just this quintessential wealthier old man, older man. Yeah, I was like, well, maybe it's his daughter. And Adam just looks at me and goes, dude, that's you don't dress.
You do not dress like that in front of your dad.
I mean, she was basically wearing a fucking tube sock as a dress. And she was rocking it. Don't get me fucking wrong. She was absolutely stunning, right?
She just mean mugged it and walked by us, and he was like, what's going on? And we're like, God.
Yeah, he was, again, just that quintessential. Was like, hey, guys. Hey, fellow kids. And it was just, we were dying, dude. We're assholes. Don't get me wrong. We are judgmental assholes on the surface, right? It's funny because I don't judge people's choices and decisions really. As far as how you live your life, I don't fucking care. But I do giggle at shit like that, right? And I always will. And I don't care if I'm a piece of shit or a horrible person or whatever else people may think about me, because I think it's funny, right? And hey, good on him if he's getting a hot piece of ass, and good on her if she's getting her fucking bills paid. I mentioned earlier in the podcast, sex work is goddamn legitimate work. To me, I think it would be harder than a lot of other fucking jobs. It should pay well, right? If
well, hopefully it's hard.
If I told you, needing Viagra is not a disability. The guy parked in the handicap zone. I think they were just running in, running out. No one ever parks in that handicap spot, but it still pisses me off when people park in them. And he's like, well, he's old. And I said, yeah, but having to take blue pills every day doesn't equate as a fucking handicap, right? Says a guy who can still get boners on his own. Give me 10 years and I might fucking rethink that.
I'm parking. I got a handicap placard now.
Yeah, because I have fucking 4-hour boners thanks to my little blue pills. But if a woman can sell, I don't like when women try to use their femininity against me. I've had women at bars and stuff try to get me to buy them drinks and shit just because they have big titties, and it's like, okay, cool. I've even had women. They'll lash out. They'll get angry when they want attention. Well, they want money, right? They want attention. They want the money, and I won't give it to them because I think that's silly. And I've had them, what are you, a faggot? Are you queer? Whoa, 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 whoa. Time out. First of all, if I was, who the fuck cares? Second of all, what the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Well, if you're not attracted to her, then you must be gay.
You must be gay.
That's how attractive she is, dude.
Thank you. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here with that. I hate that shit.
I love it, dude.
There's a lot of ladies that there's a lot of people. I can just put it that way. There's a lot of people that don't deal well with rejection.
Yeah.
Some of them happen to be ladies, but especially even a semi-attractive lady is not used to getting turned down a lot. So it's a totally different ego sensation for them. As a matter of fact, I encourage you, go look it up because, when Tinder came along, everybody thought that this was more or less going to be like the Dial-A-Ho app. And turns out it is not that way at all.
It is if you're a really attractive dude.
Yeah. Yeah, there's been studies done. I did a lot of, I won't say research, like I didn't do double blind fucking studies or anything. But
you brought people into your apartment and had them.
I did a lot of reading when I got on, because I met my ex-wife on Match 15 years ago, and I had done the online. My dog seems to need to drink water whenever I'm doing the podcast as loudly as he possibly can.
He wants to be a guest star.
Guest starring Parker, the loud drinking dog. I had, because of my age, I wound up single at about the time that online dating was getting big, like Yahoo Personals. Adam was laughing at me yesterday about Yahoo Personals. Did a lot of online dating, met some cool people, met some fucking nut jobs. I mean, it was basically like normal fucking dating. So, but I can say that 15 years later, it is different. It's changed a lot. So I did some reading up on Tinder, and there's been, obviously, sociologists, psychologists and stuff have done studies and things like that. And to Adam's point, not everyone's, your mileage may vary, right? Because it is visually based more so than anything, right? Good looking people. But at the same time, I say that, but a lot of times, especially at a bar or somewhere where I don't know somebody, physical attraction is the first thing that clicks anyway. You see somebody across the room and think that person's facial features are arranged in a way that make my parts tingle. I'm going to go talk to them. And you do. And you start from there. And then they open their mouth and you're like, nope, nope, nope.
Well, on a basic
tingle,
level.
Adam.
No, not make my parts tingle, dude.
Tingle.
Well, on a basic level, and this is kind of universally true, if, let's say, you're attracted to someone in every way except the way they look, when it comes time to fuck them, you may not necessarily be terribly excited about the prospect, and that in and of itself would turn around and destroy a relationship.
Yep.
So if you're sitting there messing around with somebody that you don't find attractive at all, that's not a healthy relationship.
No, and physical attraction is subjective. It's important. I don't care what anybody says. There are women that just think I'm the nastiest looking motherfucker on the planet, and there are plenty of women who thought that I was good looking. I mean, it's not
thought, like past tense.
Past tense, yeah.
Okay.
I've outgrown it. I don't go around thinking I'm the most attractive guy on the planet by any means, but I have seen worse. But you're absolutely right, and I mean that's why alcohol has hooked up so many people. There's studies that show that was it something like that when you're drinking, people's features become more symmetrical to you, or something like that, which is something that humans find attractive. It's not just beer goggles are not just a joke or a whatever. It's scientifically proven that you will fuck things that you probably wouldn't when you were sober. I think most of us anecdotally can support that.
I feel like that has more to do with inhibition than I think your face was very symmetrical.
For me, that's exactly what it was when I was a much younger man. I would have, I like to entertain. I like to have lots of people over at the house.
Orgies. He's referring to orgies.
No, really not. I was never much of an orgy guy. I don't want to be fucking while I'm watching you fucking. Because there might be that odd moment where we make eye contact and you're like, oh God, this is now turned awkward. That's why I've never been involved in I guess they call that a devil's threesome, two horns.
Two horns.
But
excellent.
Yeah, because I don't want to be on one end and somebody's on the other end and we lock eyes for a minute.
You just high five.
London Bridge, I think they call that.
Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower? That doesn't make any sense. London Bridge would make more sense. It'd be more like a bridge. She's the bridge between the two of you.
Yeah, but there's
the apex
of the Eiffel
in
Tower,
the center.
Yeah. And there's a little connector in the middle.
Keep things stable. Keep your relationship stable.
So the Eiffel Tower along with some spit roast action, I guess.
Who's a dirty little piggy?
Dan, shut up. I'm trying to keep it up.
Or Dan, keep talking.
What would wind up happening
equally bad
is there would be a girl over there who was obviously attracted to me that I didn't necessarily want to sleep with. And the thing is once I got 3 or 4 beers in me, if they gave me a massage, they were getting fucked. That's all there was to it.
Fuck yeah.
So now I know as I just give you a little back rub and I'm getting laid. Is that what
after a couple Bud Lights, yeah.
After a couple Bud Lights, a little back rub, I'm getting laid. Doug and I discussed a long time ago that our lives would be easier if we were gay. It would have taken out a lot of effort and a lot of struggle, right? You get laid, you play some Xbox, go grab you a steak or something. I don't know.
Go play golf. Go
right, a little handy in the fucking
go ride
shack.
Motorcycles. It's like, hey, I'd like to do something today. Why don't you fuck me in the ass and then we'll play and then we'll go ride motorcycles?
Perfect situation.
You would both be the most Bush gay guys ever.
I don't know, man. I've been accused of being effeminate or having more feminine traits than masculine.
We're gonna fuck each other and then go eat a steak and ride motorcycles.
Fuck yeah, dude. I mean, just saying, I know there's people out there going, you can do that with a woman, right, Dan? You know that's possible. It's like, ha ha ha, you don't know the mother issues I have. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, I mean, with it's like, I'm fully aware that I am this 46-year-old heterosexual white guy with my limited worldview. But in the grand scheme of things, it seems like relating to another guy is obviously so much easier than relating to a
Sure.
woman, because we're wired the same. And I'm sure it's not like that for everybody, but I'm sure that there are gay couples out there that it's like, hey, I like all the same things that you like. I'm a dude, you're a dude. We're going to do stuff and, whatever. But, it just seems like that would be the perfect relationship. But I can't look at another man's hairy ass and find it attractive. I just
You got to
can't.
have him shave it, is what you're saying.
Right. You got a little nair. We might be able to make this work. I think, and I think you're spot on with the fact that men and women are wired different, and neither one is wrong, neither one is right, neither one is superior, etc.
Men are better, if that's what you're saying.
No, dear God, no. I'm never going on record, even sarcastically, as saying,
yeah, men are better.
There goes your political career in 20 years, Adam.
Well, there's not like a superior gender, but men are better.
But men are better. I ain't saying ain't nobody better than nobody, but we're better than they are. That's all.
But men's rights matter more.
I ain't saying. I'm just saying. Terrible people.
For those wondering, I am kidding.
Simpler.
I am kidding, by the way. I want to throw that out there.
Adam is not a misogynistic asshole. I think that, like I said, I think Doug's right. And the fact that men being wired different, I will say this, of the few gay couples that I actually know and have interacted with on a semi-regular basis, most of them are more long-term than most of the heterosexual couples I know. I know way more like separated. I won't say divorced, because in a lot of situations, gay couples couldn't get married, so that doesn't necessarily equate. But I know more gay couples, female and male, that have been together 10, 15, 20 years than I know heterosexual couples that have been together that long. So I find that interesting, right? I mean, I don't know what the correlation is there. Maybe that's just my experience.
Yeah, it's just yours.
It's just mine. Yeah, I'm the only person that knows some long-term gay couples.
No, I'm just saying, like, I know plenty of gay people who just like kind of bounce around just like straight people.
10-4, yeah. So that's what I said. That is just kind of my own view on it.
Yeah,
I've been thinking a lot lately about masculinity and femininity and what that means to me, because of, again, the way that people have described me. I have been accused, and I use that word sort of tongue in cheek, of being gay since I was in middle school, probably. Everyone, yeah. I mean, I use that disclaimer because
you've been accused.
The way people,
how do you plead? How do you plead,
exactly.
Mr.
A dude's gay. So fucking what? Why are you so hung up on it?
Because he might try and fuck me.
Right? He might try to have sex with me. Well, you could say no. You could just walk the fuck away.
Well, maybe I won't say no. Then
what? I ain't gay because I don't do it. I just let it get done to me. So it's totally different. It's the Cartman effect. And again, you're gay. Oh no, you're so gay. When I was younger, it bothered me, right? Because of these stereotypes of masculinity and femininity, and now
especially in the 80s.
Well, yeah, absolutely, right. And I just don't.
In the 80s, the worst thing you could be was gay.
I mean, and then as AIDS came in, you got to see just how polarizing being gay was. And I don't think in almost every culture, masculinity is something that you have to achieve, you have to maintain, you have to hold on to. Whereas femininity just kind of happens. You hit a certain age, you develop breasts, and boom, you have femininity. With a guy, we have to constantly prove our masculinity. I have been told that I wasn't masculine or that I was more feminine because I show emotion. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I cry when I'm upset or I'm depressed, etc. I don't necessarily find those to be feminine traits. to tell me that as a man, the only thing I'm allowed to feel is anger, rage, hatred. It brings up the concept of toxic masculinity, which I'm on the fence about.
And horny.
And horny. Right? If a woman,
and horny.
No, but you know what? And there's a flip to that. I'm glad you say that, because there's kind of a flip to that.
Uh-huh.
If a woman is horny, she's a slut, she's a whore, etc. If a woman likes to have sex, safe or otherwise, she's a whore. Why? I like to have sex and she likes to have sex, and now we're going to have sex together and everybody's going to be fucking happy, right?
Well, on the flip side of that, there's a lot of gender stereotypes, and there will be times where you're in the middle of doing a thing or something else, or it's not a terribly convenient place, and somebody that you love to have sex with, they want to have sex at that particular moment, and you're like, no, not really. This isn't necessarily the right time for that. I'm totally down for fucking, but not right now. And then they'll either think they're not attractive enough or that there's something wrong with you. No, it's like, this isn't necessarily the best time to fuck. I'm all about fucking, but I can't fuck 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year in the football stadium, in the bathroom, at the fucking Burger
I'm willing
King,
to give it a try, though.
In the Walmart,
that's how I want to die.
Yeah. I'm willing to give it a try. I don't know that I've ever said no.
Well, the thing about offered. The thing about women like being labeled, slutty or whatever because they fuck easy, I think it's like a genetic thing from way back, because like dudes can reproduce like 8 times a day and women can reproduce 1 time every fucking year. So, they have to choose, they have to be more thoughtful about their partner. If sex is all about reproduction, which now it's not, it's just about fucking, but I think it's just something that's left over genetically, honestly.
I think there's definitely truth to that. I think that a woman, I think it's viewed that a woman gives up, right? Because that's a term I've heard. Yeah, she'll give it up. So it's like this thing she has that should be protected and safe. Every man wants it. And
that's why they get off the fucking boat when it's on fire first. We got to protect women that vagina.
But then when they do give it to you, and I know guys that they go after a woman, right? They want to have sex with this woman so bad. And then they do, and they're like, and you're like, well, was the sex not good or something? No, it was fucking awesome. Well, then what's the problem? She gave it up.
I've had it now.
But you wanted her to quote unquote give it up, right? Yeah. Then what's the problem, slut? What? Wait, what? You're confusing the fuck out of me right now.
So I wanted it, and now I've had it, so I don't want it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm full.
But that's her fault. She's a slut. Okay, yeah, cool.
And I always wondered if there was something deeper behind that. Like, maybe the guy didn't necessarily perform up to his expectations or what have you. He may have been the 2-pump chump or something else. But I always went with the philosophy when it came to sex of satisfy your customers and they'll keep coming back for more.
Amen, brother.
I would put everything that I had into making sure they had a good experience because of 2 reasons. Number one, if I did it once, more than likely I wanted to do it more than once. And also number 2, you've got I'm sure there's a modern day equivalent, but it used to be called the sewing circle, where ladies gave up all sorts of information about anything that was going on in their lives and whoever else. And you did not want to have the bad reputation in that sewing circle because, you might sleep with that one today, but, her hot friend later on down the line, if you got a, more or less a positive female Yelp review.
4 stars, would recommend doing again.
Oh, dude, that needs to be a thing.
He's got that.
Dude, let's make that. Let's fucking code that, guys. We could do it.
I'm down.
Dick book.
Yelp for dick.
Dick book.
Dick book.
They don't need it. They've already had it for the last several.
This would be a centralized database. When you move to a new town, you'll know. You just join the local dick book.
The reviews, the women are all anonymous. Yeah. The only problem with that is then you get like the same as like a DDoS, right? You'd get a bunch of
dudes rating their dick really high.
There'd be a bunch of it'd be women that like, fuck that guy. Give him 1-star reviews. Say he has herpes. Because people are fucking mean. And I have had...
Well, I mean, that's already happening in their group chat anyway.
Sure, exactly, in social media. And I have had that exact experience, actually, where I got laid later because of a performance previously, right? And didn't come to find that out until later.
Your resume preceded you.
Exactly. Well, so-and-so said you were good, and you were. And I was like, well, fuck. That's when I learned, like, wow, like you said, satisfied customers. I worked at a place doing sales, and the guy says there are terrorists and disciples whenever you've got a business. And a disciple will tell 1 or 2 people. A terrorist will tell 20 fucking people if they had a bad experience, right? Somebody with bad experiences will tell 20 fucking people. Somebody with a good experience, they might tell 1 or 2. So, being single again and talking to women about sex, the 2-pump chump apparently is not unusual and is actually kind of the term that was given to me was jackhammer. These guys get on, they jackhammer me for 5 minutes, get off and roll over and go to sleep. And I think
pace your fucking self. What are you doing?
I think it's like you said. I think it's genetic / evolution. I think for a guy, it's about getting on, getting off, and then moving on. Right?
The thing is,
a lot more physical.
When you were talking earlier about dudes who like they'll finally like have sex with the lady and then forget about it, like I already fucked her. I think that's left over genetically too, because like you can only like after that, if you successfully reproduce, there's no genetic reason to do it again.
As opposed to dispersing your seed, if it is, into as many genetic combinations as possible. It's actually fascinating, and I think sex is a great place to see it. It's fascinating how the evolution of the human is so slow and has not caught up with our technology, with our reproductive laws, a lot of stuff, right?
Did you say evolution?
Evolution, yes.
That's not real.
It is.
We're gonna cut it right here because evolution is not real. So.
God wants you to end the podcast now.
All right. Yeah. We just hit an hour, so if no one has anything else.
Which is like 58 minutes longer than anyone ever wants to hear us fucking talk. But
if they make it past the intro music, I call
it. Well, for those of you that made it this far, thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. All right.
All 5 of you.
Hey. There's more than... I'm sure they're downloading it and listening to it, so we don't see the plays, but I'm sure it's there.